So welcome to all of you Shiksha 360, and today basically we will start our discussion on chapter number 2, supply and demand. Clear? Supply and demand. This is basically part 1. Clear? Basically this session chapter basically we have to discuss in 3 parts as already mentioned in the schedule. Okay, so basically today basically this is the first part. Today is basically the first part. So let's start our discussion. So basically in the first session we have to discuss on demand. Clear? Basically in this session basically we have to discuss on demand. Clear? Basically we have to discuss on demand. What is demand schedule, what is demand curve, what is market demand, what are the factors affecting this demand. Clear? Basically we have to discuss all the things, and in the later basically shift in the demand curve. Clear? Shift in the demand curve. Okay, so let's start our discussion. So basically this chapter introduces the notions of supply and demand and shows how they operate in competitive markets. Clear? And basically it shows basically how they operate in competitive markets basically for the individual commodities. Clear? Basically for what? For the individual commodities. Here basically we begin with the demand curve. Clear? In this session basically we have to discuss regarding the demand curve, and in the next session basically we have to discuss regarding the supply curve. Clear? In the next session basically we have to discuss regarding the supply curve. So basically using these basic tools, clear, using these basic tools, we will see how the market price is determined. Clear? Basically here basically we'll see how the market price basically determined, basically where these two curves intersect. Clear? Basically which two curves? Demand curve and supply curve. Where the forces of supply and demand are just in balance, that is basically we can say that equilibrium. Equilibrium. So basically it is the movement of prices, the price mechanism basically which brings supply and demand into balance or equilibrium. Clear? Basically it is the movement of prices, that is the price mechanism basically which brings the supply and demand into balance or equilibrium. Clear? So let's start our discussion on the demand schedule. Clear? Basically what is demand schedule? So basically amount of a commodity. Clear? Amount of a commodity basically people buy basically depend upon its price. Clear? Basically how much basically we have to buy, basically it depends upon its price. Like we can say that basically earlier the price of the petrol basically we can assume that it is 110 rupees. Clear? And later on basically it will decrease basically 20 rupees, so 90 rupees. Earlier basically we will go with the public bus. Later on basically when the price will reduce, basically we will go our own vehicle. Clear? Similarly happens with the commodity. Higher the price, clear, basically higher the price of an article. Clear? Higher the price of an article basically it leads to the basically if the price is higher, so basically people will buy less. Clear? Basically people will buy less. Clear? So higher the price of an article, other things held constant. Clear? Basically keeping this point, basically other things held constant, the fewer units basically consumer are willing to buy. Clear? Higher the price, less buy. Similarly if the price is low, buy is more. Clear? Both are inversely related to each other. Clear? Both are inversely related to each other. Under the demand schedule. Clear? Under the demand schedule. Basically under demand schedule, basically which two terms basically we have to discuss. First one is the price. Second one is the demand. Price and demand. Clear? Price and demand. Clear? Demand basically we can say that quantity. So the higher the price of an article, other things held constant. Clear? If the price is high, the fewer units basically consumers are willing to buy. On the other hand, the lower is its market price. Clear? If the market price is low, the more units of it are bought. Clear? The more units of it are bought. Clear? So it depends. Higher the price, lower buy. Lower the price, more buy. Okay. So there exists a definite relationship between the market price of a good and the quantity demanded of that good. other things held constant. Clear? Other things basically we have to keep constant. So basically there is a relationship that basically we will see that the relationship is inversely relationship. So their relationship, this relationship basically that exists between the price and the quantity bought. Clear? So basically sometimes they will ask in the examination basically what is demand schedule. Basically the relationship basically that exists between the price and the quantity bought, it is called the demand schedule. Clear? It is called the demand schedule. So what is demand curve? If this is a represent on the graph, clear? If this relation is a represent on the graph or graphical representation, it is basically known as the demand curve. Clear? You have to remember that. Clear? Basically the relation between the price and quantity bought, it is called the demand schedule, and the graphical representation of the same, it is called as demand curve. Clear? And the graphical representation of the same, clear? And the graphical representation of the same, it is basically called as a demand curve. Clear? Hope this is clear to all of you regarding the demand schedule and demand curve. Clear? What is the basic difference between the demand schedule and demand curve? Clear? Demand schedule basically relationship between the price and quantity bought, and demand curve basically the graphical representation. Clear? Demand curve, it is basically the graphical representation. So now next move towards the basically this is one example here, the demand schedule for the apple. Clear? Basically here basically we have to discuss the demand schedule for the apple. So basically here they have given price and they are basically quantity demanded. Clear? Basically million of boxes per year. Clear? If the price of the apple is rupees 500 per box, clear? 500 per box. So basically this is high price with respect to the other prices. Clear? So basically there is less quantity demanded. Clear? Only 9 million boxes per year. When the price is going to reduce basically 400 per box, the quantity demanded is increases to basically 10 million of boxes per year. Clear? Similarly, when the price is reduced further, rupees 300 per box, the quantity demanded is 12 million boxes per year. Clear? Similarly, this is the way going out. Clear? So when the price, this is the least price. So when the price is rupees 100 per box, quantity demanded is basically 20 million of boxes per year. Clear? 20 million of boxes per year. Clear? So this is the price, this is the quantity demanded. Clear? So you have to remember that. Clear? Basically this is the vertical axis. If we can say that this is our graph, this is the vertical axis, this is the horizontal axis. So on vertical axis basically we have to represent the price, and on the horizontal axis basically we have to represent the quantity. Clear? On the vertical axis basically we have to represent the price, and on the horizontal axis basically we have to represent the quantity. Clear? So let's represent that. This D basically represents the demand curve. Clear? This D basically represents the demand curve. So basically when the price is rupees 500 per box, the quantity demanded is 9. Clear? The quantity demanded is 9. Clear? So this is A. When the price is rupees 400, the quantity demanded is 10 million boxes per year. This is B. So when the price is basically further reduced to rupees 300 per box, the quantity demanded here basically we can say 12 boxes, 12 million boxes. Clear? So this is, so as we can see that, clear, basically this is the demand curve. Clear? This is the demand curve. As the price is going to decrease, clear, as the price is going to decrease, the quantity supply is going to increase. Clear? So first thing basically which we have to realize here, that is this is the inversary relationship. Clear? Inversary relationship. Second one, this is what is the slope. Clear? The slope of the demand curve is downward. Clear? The slope of the curve is a downward. Clear? This is going to like this way. Clear? So these are all the important questions basically which they will ask in the examination. So please tell fast if you have any doubt, any query up to this much point. Clear? Up to this much point. Clear? So basically first thing basically we have to remember that the inversary relationship between the price and the quantity. Second one here basically the slope. The slope of the demand curve is to be downward. Clear? The slope of the demand curve is to be the downward. So please tell fast if you have any doubt, any query up to this much point. Hope it is clear to all of you basically what is demand schedule and what is demand curve. Now move to the next point, demand curve. Clear? Later some basically some important points. So basically the graphical representation. Clear? Basically we have already discussed these points. The graphical representation of the demand schedule. Clear? The graphical representation of the demand schedule. It is basically known as the demand curve. Clear? Quantity of apples. Clear? Basically demanded on the horizontal axis. Clear? You have to remember that basically quantity we have to represent on the horizontal axis, and price of apples basically on the vertical axis. Note that quantity and price are inversely related, clear, inversely related. That is the, if the Q goes up, clear, like we can say that this one. If the Q goes up, clear, like this one, the price is going to be decreased, clear, the price is going to be decreased, clear, when the P goes down, clear, Q goes up, when the P goes down, clear. So the curve slopes downward, clear, this is the slope of the curve, like this one. The curves slope downward, going from northwest to southeast, clear, going from northwest to southeast, clear. So this important property is called the law of downward sloping demand, clear. Just in the examination, what they will ask, basically, what is the slope of demand curve, clear? What is the slope of demand curve? So what you have to tell, basically, the slope of the demand curve is to be downward, clear? The slope of the demand curve is to be downward. Okay. Now, next thing, basically, we have to law of downward sloping demand, clear, law of downward sloping demand. So basically, when the price of a commodity is raised, clear, basically, when the price of the commodity is raised and other things basically being a constant, clear, other things basically being constant, and the price of the commodity is to be raised, clear. So basically, in that case, basically, buyers tend to buy less of the commodity, clear. So when the price is raised, clear, basically, when the price is raised, buyers basically buy less, clear, buy less or demand less. Similarly, when the price is low, clear, similarly, when the price is low, demand is more, clear, demand is more. Clear, law of downward sloping demand, basically what it says that basically when the price of a commodity is raised, buyers tend to buy less of the commodity, and when the price of the commodity is lowered and other things being constant, clear, you have to remember that basically here, basically we will keep other things being a constant, clear, quantity demanded increases, clear. When the other things variable, clear, basically what will happen when the other things variable, so it leads to the shift in the demand curve. Clear, what will happen if the other things are variable, clear, if the other things are variable, then basically it leads to the shift in the demand curve, clear, basically it leads to the shift in the demand curve. Okay, so basically we have to discuss also regarding that, clear, basically we have to discuss also regarding that. So next one here is to basically quantity demanded, clear, basically in which cases, clear, basically in which of the following cases basically quantity demanded falls, clear, in which of the following cases basically quantity demanded tends to fall as price rises, clear, basically quantity demanded tends to fall basically as price rises basically for the two reasons, clear. First one is the substitution effect, second one is the income effect, clear, second one is the income effect, clear. This is basically comes under the law of downward sloping demand. So the quantity demanded basically tends to fall as price rises, clear. First one is the substitution effect, clear. So when the price of any commodity is increased, so basically we have to shift to the other product, clear, other product of the same, like we can say toothpaste, clear. So basically we will move towards the other toothpaste, clear, of other company, clear, which is basically in our range. So basically first is the substitution effect. For instance, when the price of a particular good rises, clear, basically when the price of the particular good rises, basically I will substitute, or basically we will substitute other similar goods for it, clear. We will substitute basically other similar goods for it, like we can say that as the price of the mutton rises, clear, as the price of the mutton rises, so basically we will eat more chicken, clear, we will eat more chicken, clear. So this is the substitution effect, clear. So this one is the example of the substitution effect, that is basically when the price of a particular good rises, so basically we will substitute other similar goods for it, clear, other similar goods for it. Like here, basically if the price of mutton rises, so basically we will move towards the chicken, clear, basically we will move towards the chicken, or basically we will eat a chicken in the place of mutton. Second one is the income effect, clear, basically second one is the income effect, clear, basically how the quantity demanded tends to fall, clear. Second one here is the income effect. So this comes into play when a higher price, clear, basically when a higher price reduces quantity demanded, clear, basically this comes into play when a higher price basically reduces quantity demanded. What is the meaning of that, clear? This comes into play basically when a higher price basically reduces quantity demanded. Because when the prices goes up, clear, like we can see that basically you are getting fixed salary every month 30,000, and you fix that basically 2,000 basically you have to spend, or 3,000 basically you have to spend every month on fruits. Now what will happen? The price of the fruit will rise, clear, the price of the fruit will rise, but you will get fixed income. Clear? 30,000. Clear? So basically you have to buy less. Clear? So you have to buy less. Clear? That is basically income effect. Clear? This comes into play. Clear? Basically this comes into play when a higher price. Clear? Basically when a higher price reduces quantity demanded. Because when the prices goes up, clear, because when the prices go up, basically I find myself somewhat poorer than I was before. Clear? Basically I find myself basically somewhat poorer than I was before. Clear? If the petrol price is double, clear, basically if the petrol price is double, so I have in effect basically less real income. So I will naturally, clear, so basically I will naturally curb my consumption of petrol and other goods. Clear? So that is basically in basically meaning of the income effect. Clear? So that is basically the meaning of the income effect. Clear? So please tell fast if you have any doubt regarding the substitution effect and income effect. Clear? And income effect. Clear? Basically when we will discuss the question, you are able to understand basically how they frame the questions. Clear? How they frame the question. Clear? On the basis of that. Clear? On the basis of that. So now move to the next one here. Market demand. Here basically till now basically we have discussed regarding the demand schedule, demand curve. So now what is market demand? Clear? Now what is the market demand? Clear? Like here basically we will discuss the example of Apple, or we can say that petrol. So basically now overall, what is the impact of these things basically on overall of the market? Clear? So the basically market demand basically what it represents? Clear? Market demand basically which represents the sum total of all the individual demands. Clear? Basically what market demand represents? Basically, it represents the sum total of all the individual demands. The market demand is what is observable in the real world. Clear? Basically, what is market demand? The market demand is what is observable in the real world. The market demand curve is found. Clear? Basically, how we can say, basically how we can find out the market demand curve? The market demand curve is found basically by adding together the quantities demanded by all the individuals at each price. Clear? So the market demand curve is basically found by adding together the quantities demanded basically by all the individuals at each price. Clear? Next question basically. Does the market demand curve basically obey the law of downward sloping? Yes. Clear? Like we can say that demand curve in basically obey. So basically the market demand curve basically also obey the law of downward sloping. Clear? Also obey the law of downward sloping. Clear? So basically what it means that basically if the prices drop, for example, the lower prices basically attract new customers through the substitution effect. Clear? The lower prices basically if the prices drop, basically for example, the lower prices basically attract new customers through the substitution effect. Clear? In addition, a price induction, clear, a price reduction basically will induce extra purchase of goods. Clear? Basically if the price is reduced, so basically we will purchase extra goods. Clear? Because we have kept some sufficient funds basically for the market. Clear? That's basically we have to spend in the market. Clear? So basically in addition, a price reduction basically will induce extra purchase of goods basically by the existing customers through both the income and the substitution effects. Clear? Through both the income and the substitution effects. Clear? Conversely, oppositely or inversely, basically a rise in the price. If there is a rise in price, so basically less good will cause basically some of us to buy less. Clear? So basically if the price is rise, so basically we will buy less. And if the price falls or price falls, so basically we will buy more. Clear? So basically just here basically we have to discuss basically what is market demand. It is a sum total of all the individual demand. Clear? Market demand, it is basically what? It is a sum total of all the individual demand. This is basically just basically we have to understand what is a market demand. It is a sum of all total of the individual demands. So now what are the factors? Clear? Now what are the factors basically that are behind the market demand? Clear? Or forces? Clear? Basically in the examination they will ask these types of questions. Clear? Basically currently they will ask these types of questions. So basically there are 5 forces, clear, behind the market demand. Clear? So basically in the examination they will given like A, B, C, D. 3 are forces and 4th one just they give the wrong one. Clear? So basically you have to just remember. Clear? Basically what are the forces behind the market demand? Clear? First one is the average income. Second one is the size of the market. Third one is the taste or preferences. Fourth one is the related goods. Fifth one is the special influence. Clear? Fifth one is the special influence. Clear? So basically what are the forces behind the market demand? Clear? First of all, basically the average income. The average income of consumers. Clear? The average income of consumer basically it is a key determinant determinant of the demand. Clear? Average income. As the people's income rises, clear, as we can say that if the income rises, like we can say that earlier you are clerical and now basically you will get promotion, clear, you will become officer, or officer basically will get promoted to the manager, clear. So now basically why the basically some will take promotion basically for the financial reasons and some will take basically promotion for the positional reasons, clear. Basically financial benefit at all places, clear, at all places, clear. So basically when your income will rise, clear, basically when your income will rise, so basically you have the tendency to buy more, clear, you have to tendency to buy more, clear. Similarly here they are saying that basically as the people income rises, clear, as the people income rises, basically individual tend to buy more of almost everything, even if the prices do not change, clear, because now basically we are capable more, clear. So basically as the people's income rises, basically individual tend to buy more of almost everything, clear, even if the prices do not change, clear, even if the prices do not change, clear. Like this way basically they are given that automobiles purchase tend to rise sharply basically with the higher level of income, clear. As the income level arise, we will see that basically the automobile purchases basically tend to rise, clear, automobile purchases basically tend to rise, clear. Basically on this we have to discuss the shift in supply, clear, shift in the demand curve, clear. Basically we have to discuss also that in the upcoming slides, clear. Basically on the rise in the income, clear, basically on average income, clear, on the rise in the average income, basically we will discuss basically how the demand curve shifts, clear, how the demand curve shifts, clear, on the rise of that. So let's discuss. Second one is the size of the market, clear. Second one basically second factor here is to be the size of the market. So the size of the market basically measured, the size of the market basically measured or say by the population basically clearly affects the market demand, clear. Basically how many people are living at a particular place, clear, basically measured by say by the population, clear, clearly affects the market demand, clear. So the demand for apples in Mumbai, clear, the demand for apples in Mumbai market is higher than that in the Chennai market, clear. Basically the demand for apples in the Mumbai market, clear, basically is higher than that in the Chennai market, clear. Basically reason because there is more population in the Mumbai market with respect to the Chennai market, clear, basically with respect to the Chennai market, clear. So this is basically affects the market demand, clear. So basically this is the second factor, that is size of the market. Next one here basically taste or preferences, clear. Next one here is to basically taste or preferences, clear. Basically in addition to these objective elements, there is a set of subjective elements like taste or preferences, clear, taste or preferences. Basically taste represent a variety of cultural and historical influences, clear. Taste basically represent a variety of cultural and historical influences. So they may reflect genuine psychological or physiological needs, clear, basically for liquids, love or excitement, clear. And they may include artificially contrived cravings like cigarettes, drugs or fancy sports car, clear. So basically taste or preferences basically also impact on the demand, clear, also impact on the demand. So basically they may also contain a large element of tradition or religion. Like example, eating beef is popular in the America but taboo in India, while curried jellyfish is a delicacy in Japan but would make many Americans gag, clear. So basically it is saying that basically like basically for a specific region, clear, basically for a specific region there is a demand for specific thing, clear, there is a demand for specific thing, clear. Okay, so it is also one of the factor, clear, it is also one of the factor, that is taste or preferences, clear. Basically that is taste or preferences, clear. So basically till now basically we have discussed three factors, regarding that. First one is basically we have discussed the average income. Second one basically we have discussed the size of the market. Third one basically we have discussed here, that is the taste or preferences, clear, taste or preferences. Now we will move towards the fourth one, clear. Now we'll move towards the fourth one, that is the related goods, clear, that is basically the related goods, clear. So the price and availability, clear, the price and availability of the related goods basically influence the demand for a commodity, clear. The price and availability of the related goods, clear, basically influence the demand for a commodity. What is the meaning of that, clear? Basically particularly important connection exists basically among substitute goods, clear, among the substitute goods, clear, ones that tend to perform the same function, clear. Basically substitution goods, basically that is basically they are performing the same function, clear. Different products but are performing the same function, clear, such as apples and oatmeal, pen and pencils, small cars and large cars, or oil and natural gas, clear, or oil and natural gas, clear. Basically demand for goods A tends to be low if the price of substitute product is B is a low, clear. We can say that basically if the price of the one product is rise, so basically we will buy the another product, clear, another substitute product, basically whose price is low, clear, whose price is low, clear. So basically related goods, clear, related goods, or we can say that the substitute goods, clear, also impacts on the market demand, clear, also impacts on the market demand, clear. Next one basically special influences, clear. Special influences basically with respect to the region, clear. Special influences here basically it respond to the basically with respect to the region, clear, basically with respect to the specific region. So let's discuss regarding that also. Basically special influences basically will affect the demand, clear. Special influences basically will affect the demand for particular goods, clear, basically for particular goods, like the demand for umbrellas, clear, like for the demand for umbrella basically is high in a rainy season, in a rainy Mumbai, but low in sunny Delhi, clear, because in the Mumbai, clear, basically we will feel that basically rain comes at any time, clear, rain comes at any time, clear. What on the other hand basically in Delhi basically it is basically with respect to the Mumbai very less chances, clear. So the demand for umbrella basically is high in Mumbai with respect to the Delhi, clear. On the other hand, the demand for the air conditioner basically will rise in the hot weather in the Delhi with respect to the Mumbai, clear, with respect to the Mumbai, clear. So basically we can say that basically with respect to the special influences, clear, or with respect to the special locations, clear, or basically with respect to the location, there is also impact on the demand, clear, also impact on the demand, clear. So basically these are the 5 factors, clear, basically these are the 5 factors, clear, which impact here, clear, basically these are the 5 factors basically which impact the market demand. First one is the average income, second one is the size of the market, clear. Third one is the taste or preferences. Fourth one is the related goods, and fifth one is the special influence, clear. Fifth one is the special influence, clear. Now next one basically we have to draw basically. So while drawing the demand curve, clear, not and basically we have to discuss in the next here first of all. So let's discuss once here. Basically while drawing a demand curve, we will see the influence of only price on the total demand and assume that the other factors are constant. Here basically we have draw the one demand curve, and in that basically we are keeping a relationship only with between the price and the quantity demanded, and other things basically kept constant, clear, other things basically kept constant, clear. So if any of the above factor changes, the demand factor, clear, the demand curve basically will not remain same, clear. If any of the above factor changes, the demand curve basically will not remain same, and basically we will have to draw another curve to show the relationship between the demand and price of that good, clear, of that good, clear. So in other words, basically what it represents, basically the demand curve will shift from its original position, clear. The demand curve basically will shift from its original position, clear. Like this is the demand curve, this is D1. So basically either they will shift this one or either they will shift this one, clear. So basically we have to also discuss regarding that, clear. Basically in which side it will shift, clear. So that is the last topic of our today's session, that is demand, shift in demand, clear, shift in demand, clear. So let us work through basically through example, basically how a change in a non-price variable, clear, shifts the demand curve, clear. Basically the price is same, even then the quantity demanded is more, clear, quantity demanded is more, because one of the other factors, clear, basically which we are keeping constant every time, here one of the other factors will change here, clear, one of the other factors will change here, clear. So let's discuss regarding that, clear. Basically we know that the average income of Indians, clear, basically we know that the average income of Indians basically rose sharply during the economic boom of 2006 to 2008, clear, boom of 2006 to 2008, clear, because there is a powerful income effect on the demand for automobiles, clear. Basically as the income rises, so basically the demand for automobiles basically increase, clear, as the income rises, clear, basically during the 2006 to 2008, clear. So there is a powerful income effect on the demand for automobiles. Clear? This means that the quantity of automobiles demanded at each price will rise. Clear? The quantity of automobiles demanded basically at each price will rise. Clear? At each price will rise. For example, if the average income, clear, if the average income basically rose by 10%, the quantity demanded, clear, the quantity demanded at a price of rupees 2 lakh might rise from 10 million to 12 million units. Clear? Only if the rise of by 10%, clear, the quantity demanded at a price of rupees 2 lakh, clear, the price of the car is basically, we can say that 2 lakh, its quantity, how much increase basically from 10 million to 12 million units. Clear? So this would be a shift in the demand curve, because the increase in quantity demanded basically reflects factors other than the goods on price. Clear? Basically here, the shift in demand curve, clear, basically not due to the price, but due to the other factor. That is the other factor here is to be the income. Clear? Here is to be the income. So let's move towards the this one. Clear? So earlier, we can say that if the price of the car is 8 lakh, so the quantity demanded is to be 12 million per year. Now, basically, what will happen? Income rises, income level rises. Clear? The price of the car, basically, if now that is same 8 lakh, the quantity demanded, basically, here, basically, we will see that it is between 16 to 20 million per year. Basically, we will see that approximately 18 million per year. Clear? 18 million per year. Clear? So basically, as the income level rise, clear, the quantity, basically there is a shift in the curve, and that shift is basically towards the rightwards. Clear? That is rightward. Clear? The price is same, but due to the rise in the income level, clear, but due to the rise in the income level, the quantity demanded, clear, the quantity demanded basically shifts towards the, or basically the demand curve is basically shift. Clear? The demand curve is basically shift towards the right. Clear? So the net effect on the changes in the underlying influence is what we call a shift in demand. Clear? Basically here it is basically called as the shift in the demand. Clear? An increase in the demand for automobiles is illustrated in this figure as a rightward shift. Clear? As a rightward shift in the demand curve. Clear? So note that the shift basically means that more cars will be bought at every price. Clear? Basically more cars will be bought at every price. Clear? So what is the meaning of that? Basically more cars will be bought at every price, or basically what is the reason behind that? Basically there is more money in the hands of the people. Clear? More money in the hands of the people. So please tell fast if you have any doubt, any query regarding that, basically what we have discussed till now regarding the market demand curve, demand schedule, and shift in demand. Please tell fast if you have any doubt, any query, or we will move towards a question discussion. So now basically we will discuss some questions on the basis of that. And I request to all of you, please participate in the question discussion. So let's first move toward the first question here. Basically a downward sloping demand curve. A downward sloping demand curve basically relates quantity demanded to. Clear? Basically a downward sloping demand curve. Basically what it relates? Basically it relates quantity. Quantity is basically related to what thing? Supply, income, price, or demand. Clear? Basically in the downward. Basically under the demand curve, clear, basically we have discussed only two factors are there. First one is the quantity demanded, second one is the price. Clear? Second one is the price. Clear? So there is quantity demanded to supply, because till now basically we have nothing discussed regarding the supply. Clear? A downward sloping demand curve basically related quantity demanded to the income. No, it basically quantity demanded to the price. Clear? It basically relates quantity demanded to the price. Clear? So this is our answer. Clear? So basically only after basically proper analyzing you are able to answer these questions. Clear? You are able to answer these questions. Now move to the next one. Basically which of the following, clear, basically which of the following will cause the demand curve? Clear? Basically will cause the demand curve if ice cream to shift from D1 to D2. Clear? Basically what is the reason basically of shifting from D1 to D2? Clear? What is the reason behind the shift in the demand curve? Clear? Shift in the demand curve. Clear? As basically we have already know, basically in the previous basically we have discussed, shift in the demand curve basically leads to the increase in the income. Clear? So let's discuss here basically what is the reason. The cost of production of ice cream decreases. This is the reason. No, more and more children enjoy drinking soft drinks. So this will lead to the shift in the demand curve. No, this is not also the logical reason. The price of ice cream decreases. Clear? Here basically the shift in the demand curve goes out. basically keeping the price is same. Clear? Basically, we have already discussed. The shift is basically due to the income. The children are given more pocket money. Clear? So this one is the reason. Clear? This one is the reason here. Clear? Because they have more income or they have more money in their hands. Clear? That leads to the shift in the demand curve. Clear? That leads to the shift in the demand curve. Clear? So basically, if you are well understood the automobile example, so you are able to answer this type of question. Clear? So you are able to answer this type of question. Clear? In the examination, basically, they will ask the question related to the theory present in the book. Clear? Related to the theory present in the book. Just you have to understand basically what they are saying that. Now move to the last question. Basically, the law of demand. Basically, what it states that the law of demand. Basically, what it said. Basically, scarcity can never be solved. When the price of the product falls, people buy more of it. Supply creates its own demand, or price will continue to rise as long as the population grows. Clear? Price will continue to rise as long as the population grows. Clear? So basically what the law of demand states, that's the law of demand basically states that basically when the price of the product falls, clear, when the price of the product falls, basically people will buy more. Clear? People will buy more. Clear? So this one is the answer. Clear? When the price of a product falls, people will buy more. Clear? People will buy more. Clear? So this one is the answer here. Hope all the questions are clear to all of you. Clear? In the next session, basically we have to discuss regarding the supply curve. Clear? Basically we have to discuss regarding the supply curve. Clear? So in this session, basically we have discussed regarding the demand schedule and later on demand curve and some important question related to that. Clear? So thanks to all of you for attending this session.